Hi, my name's Gary. Uh, Today I'm going to be talking to you about Fort Bowie National Historical Site. First off, I'll let you know a little bit about myself. I'm a student in Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, Arizona. But today we're in Southern Arizona, probably about 35 miles, 40 miles north of the Mexico-U.S. Border. And we've been driving about 2 hours to get to Fort Bowie. I'm going to be showing you a little bit about Apache Springs, Apache territory way back in the 1800s, and which became Fort Bowie National Historical Site nowadays. Okay, this place is
If you look at this map, you can see Tucson, Arizona, and to the east, following Interstate 10, is Wilcox, Arizona. You can drive through Wilcox to Highway 186 or continue on I-10 to Bowie, Arizona. Once in Bowie, you will drive south on Apache Pass Road to the visitor parking lot and trailhead. Next, we will go to Cutoff Peak, and I will show you Fort Bowie National Historical Site from a distance and Apache Pass from a distance.
all right. Here we are at Cutoff Peak. Now we've hiked maybe about a mile and a half up up this peak because I wanted to show you this whole valley, Apache Valley. If the camera could just move around, there you go, Apache Valley. And I don't know if you could zoom in, way over there in the saddle is Fort Bowie National Historic Site. And later on, I'm going to show you the actual first Fort Bowie, which was 300 yards southwest of that area. And I don't know if the camera could also zoom in way down there on the road to where we actually first started hiking. We parked our vehicle a mile and a half from here, but the trailhead is about 3 miles, 3.5 miles from here. That's where we're gonna start hiking all the way to Fort Bowie. But I just wanted to show you this whole area right here, which is Apache Valley. This is where Geronimo, the Cherokee chief, Cochise, this was their homeland. This was their territory before Fort Bowie was established, and they were rounded up and they were put on a reservation, I believe called the Cherokee Indian Reservation, before it was shut down, and everyone was gathered and they were taken to, I think it was San Carlos.
The Battle of Apache Pass led to building Fort Bowie to protect both the pass and Apache Springs. Soldiers from the 5th California Volunteer Infantry started building it on July 28, 1862. Set on a hill overlooking the spring, it was named for the original commander, Colonel George Washington Bowie. Completed under 3 weeks, the fort was more temporary camp than a permanent post. 13 tents surrounded by irregular stones thrown up at key positions atop of a hill. In 1868, a less primitive Fort Bowie was built on a plateau 300 yards to the southeast. Between 1862 and 1886, Fort Bowie was the nerve center for military campaigns against hostile Cherokee Apaches, led first by Cochise and then by Geronimo. Cochise finally made peace in 1872, and he and his people were given 3,000 square mile reservation in southeast Arizona that included their traditional homeland. In 1876, to impose more rigid control, the federal government abolished the Cherokee Reservation, ordering everyone moved to the San Carlos Reservation in the hot, barren, and disease-ridden Guile River Valley. But with reservation restraints and deplorable conditions, many escaped, some more than once. In the last outbreak in May of 1885, Geronimo led 134 Cherokees back into Mexico, They were pursued by soldiers and Apache scouts. Here in this photo, you can see Geronimo sitting on the ground with U.S. infantry volunteer soldiers and a handful of Geronimo's fellow Indians. In this photo, they are at Skeleton Canyon and Geronimo is about to surrender. At the time of his surrender, Geronimo stated, "I'm not going to bother anybody again. If you want to do anything to me, if you want to kill me, well, that's all right. If you want to hang me, that's all right. Whatever you want to do, do it." General Miles replied to the Apache chief, "No, I don't want to do nothing." In response, Geronimo said, "If you're not going to kill me, get people good food, good water, good grass, good milk." General Miles answered the Apache chief, "Well, we can't move you to the western states. That's the reason why I'm going to send you out east, where nobody knows you. You'll live a long life that way. But if you can't do nothing wrong, or you can't live down here at all. Alright?" After their final surrender in September of 1886, Geronimo and his remaining followers were brought to Fort Bowie, assembled on the parade ground, and taken by wagons to the railroad for the long journey to be exiled in Florida. Geronimo's defeat ended both the Apache Wars and Fort Bowie military usefulness. 4 days later, the entire Cherokee tribe were put on trains and exiled to Florida, where they were to be held as prisoners. The president ordered them to send to Fort Pickens, stating that they are guilty of the war crimes known to the law, committed under circumstances of great atrocity and public safety, requires them to remove far from the scene of the depredations and guarded with strict vigilance. During the transfer, President Cleveland gave his army commanders explicit orders. All the hostiles should be very safely kept as prisoners until they can be tried for their crimes or otherwise disposed of, and those to be sent to Florida should be started immediately. Those chilling words, "or otherwise disposed of," symbolize for many Native Americans how the U.S. government truly felt about them and their families. The fort was an active post for 8 more years, finally closing on October 17, 1894, when the troops were withdrawn and no possibility of any Cherokee Indians returning.
Alright, well, here we are on the hillside of Fort Bowie National Historic Site. As you can see in the background, all the different ruins. And the visitor center right over here. Probably just see the roof of it. Visitor center does have what normal visitor centers have, is, you know, different exhibits, gifts, books. You can see right down here on the very bottom of the valley is the trail that we hiked in on. That's it for now. I hope you guys were able to learn something and remember, stay on the trails, keep your dogs on the leash, and if you do come in by horseback, keep your horse at the visitor center. Don't take your horse back into where all the different ruins are at. All right? Thank you. Have a good day.